Let us sing this one together. How can anyone ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? How can anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? How can anyone fail to notice that your living is a miracle, and how deeply you are connected to my soul? Let's do it again. How can anyone ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? How can anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? How can anyone fail to notice that your living is a miracle, and how deeply you are connected to my soul?
Invite you to close your eyes if it's comfortable, or soften your gaze. Just relax a little more deeply into your seat and become aware of your breath. And if you're willing, I invite you to shift your awareness, your attention out there into the universe, out there, that transcendent place in space and time that has always been, where there is that explosion of energy, of light, and the coming forth of stardust. Stardust, this manifestation of this building block of manifest physical life. And even in this separation that appears in the world, we know I am connected. I am connected to every living thing. I am connected to every living thing. And now, if you're willing, I want to invite you to shift your awareness from that transcendent place that holds us all in the mind of God, and bring your full awareness within, into the limitless place of consciousness, where just like there was that great explosion of light, there is an individualized spark illuminating your awareness within. That spark of life that I call the Christ. Individualized as each one of us. That place where we are connected soul to soul. This is the indwelling place of wisdom and power, the wellspring of life and of love in us. And so let's pause for a moment in the stillness and in the silence, and simply breathe and be aware of that connection to one another, to all living things. That connection to God, good. The connection to love in the silence. I share a connection to all living things. I share a connection to all living things. Using that faculty of imagination, I invite you to see that small spark illuminating your consciousness, shining out from the center of your physical being. A brilliant white light. Notice how the edges of that light start to turn pink, radiating from your heart center. Connecting with the light of everyone around you. Now invite that light to grow and grow and grow until you feel it encompassing the world. I am connected to all living things, for all things are expressions of the one mind. God, good, love. In the mind of God, we are one. I am connected to all living things. And when you are ready, and with a gentle breath, bring your awareness back into this time and this space. This manifest experience on playground planet Earth. But bring with you that piece of wisdom that you are connected to all living things. I am connected to all living things. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen.
We sang the reprise before. We're going to do the longer version of the song. We're going to do it 3 times to really ground that connection that we have to each other and to all things. How can anyone ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? How can anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? How can anyone fail to notice that you're living is a miracle, and how deeply you are connected to my soul. How can anyone ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? How can anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? How can anyone fail to notice that your living is a miracle, and how deeply you are connected to my soul? Once more. How can anyone ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? How can anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? How can anyone fail to notice that your living is a miracle, and how deeply you are connected to my soul? And as we prepare to receive Rev Todd's message, I thought that I would sing this one, and you may know it. This one's by Queen. Please sing it if you know it. I want to break free. I want to break free. I want to break free from the lies, and it is no surprise I don't need them. I took some liberties there. Oh, I've got to break free. God knows I want to break free. I want to break free. I want to break free. I want to break free from the shackles that keep me in bondage. I don't need them. Oh, I want to break free. God knows I want to break free. Oh, yes, it's true. We gotta be present to really break through. Banish the thoughts that are keeping us stuck. Oh, yeah, we got to break free. Oh, yeah, we want to break free, honey. Oh, yes, we gotta break free. I want to break free. I want to break free, free from the lies, and it is no surprise. I want to break free from the lies, and it is no surprise that I don't need them. Oh, I've got to break free. Rev Todd's gonna show us how to break free. I want to break free. I want to break free. I want to break free from those shackles that keep us in bondage. We don't need them. Oh, yes, we gotta break free. God knows I want to break free. God knows we want to break free. Rev Todd knows we want to break free. Here's Rev Todd.
I'm rarely speechless. But what better way to end Pride Month than with a song by Freddie Mercury? I'm just saying, right? Whew. So I've been working through this idea of being stuck, because I've been feeling a little stuck, and And today's topic, the past 2 weeks have changed tremendously because this is what I get for working ahead because I was telling my story, my narrative in my head, and like I procrastinate. I don't know if y'all know that.
No.
You hear all the hate in the room? It's said with love. It's said with love. But at the beginning of the month, I sent Deidrey all 4 talks, the titles, what they were about, and everything. And the past 2 weeks have, at the 11th hour, changed. This one was like, what the title I gave just wasn't working, and I was like wrestling with it. And finally, it arrived at that this one is about being stuck in opposition. We are living in an age of opposition. I don't know if you can see that in the world, but social media outrage is a real thing. Have you noticed how brave people are on social media? Because they don't even have to identify who they are, but they can say some really ugly things. So some other opposition. I don't know if y'all have noticed, but there is some political tribalism happening in the world today. Not just here in the U.S. I noticed some religious certainty in the world. And it bothers me, so that means there must still be a little bit in me that needs to heal. There are culture wars. Did y'all hear my Appalachian come out in the meditation when I said thang? I'm from the mountains, and I don't live there anymore, but boy, do I sound it. We live in in times of enormous opposition. And we increasingly organize around what we are resisting as in our individual in our personalities, in our spacesuits in the world. We organize about what we resist, what we reject, and who we believe is wrong. I've said for many years, I really long for the day when all of the political commercials that come on talk about what people are for versus putting down what they're against and who the other person is. I want to know, what do you believe in? And then I had this awareness and got really clear on this idea that I want to make sure that you carry away from this talk about opposition, because I'm not just talking about those people, about them. Because we have to be honest, and it just doesn't happen out there, it happens in us. And that's sort of been the journey of this stuck series, right? Because we get stuck in our stories, and we have stories that distort perception, right? Because we don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are. So our stories can distort the perceptions. And then we talked about how the past shapes our present, because we get used to the past, we get comfortable, and then we want it to repeat. And when it doesn't, ooh, buddy. Do y'all ever get bent out of shape because things don't appear the way you want them to appear? Yeah. And then we get stuck in that survival place, and that narrows our consciousness. So, and here's what the question came up for me was, what happens when unresolved stuckness meets other unresolved stuckness? Whether it's in me or whether it's me and someone else. We have opposition. So it became clear that this was to talk about opposition. And when I say opposition, I want you to know that I don't mean disagreement. I don't mean discernment. I don't mean your boundaries. And I want to make really clear that I don't mean anger, because anger is not the problem. Because anger can be sacred. Anger reveals where our values have been violated, and it calls us to step into change. Sacred anger can call us to make righteous action. But opposition means that we are locked in this struggle. And it becomes bondage. Because we have an identity now that depends on separation. It denies our connection with all living things. It denies our connection to the universe at large. And so, it's not that we can't recognize harm. The concern I have is when making others wrong becomes central to who in identifying who I am. When making someone else be wrong becomes central to who you are when you say I am. Then we're not living from our connection. We're not living in alignment with our source. Now, those of you that have been coming for a while know that we have that third unity principle, that what we hold in our thinking and feeling nature creates our experience. It sort of becomes the lens through which we see the world. And our consciousness creates our experience. And what I want to remind everyone this morning about is that in unity, we read our scriptures, the Hebrew scriptures and the Gospels and the New Testament, our Christian scriptures. We read those on more than one level. And we honor the historical story, the narrative of this tradition, but we also understand that every character is representative of the movement of consciousness for each and every one of us. From the Adam and Eve story and the separation, the believing that we are separate from the one, and it carries us all the way forward to understanding our oneness. And so I turned to Florence Scovel Shinn. She teaches that represented thought patterns create conditions of experience. Repeated thought patterns. Right? And we tell little stories about this. I mean, the big one in my life right now is that, I'm driving around in my red hot pepper colored truck. And I drive around in that truck, and when I got it, I didn't see that many cars that were that color, and I certainly didn't see many trucks that were that color. And now they're everywhere because I'm holding that thought in my consciousness, right? And the whole reason I went away from the white cars because the white cars really were everywhere to the point that I was getting into the wrong car in the parking lot. And see, this, we laugh this off, and we sometimes call this kind of thing like magical thinking. I'm gonna manifest, right? And okay. But here's the thing. This is actually psycho-spiritual. That this we're not creating these things. We are training ourselves to look for these things. And when we allow our unconscious thoughts and biases to go unquestioned, opposition hardens in us. When we allow unconscious thought to go unquestioned, when we don't roll it over and go, where did that thought come from? What on earth? When we don't dig that out of our consciousness, right? Then it becomes routine thinking, and it becomes an issue because our unconscious rehearsals of things like they are dangerous. Becomes a problem. Unquestioned, unconscious rehearsals of thoughts like, I don't belong, become a problem. When I say, oh, they will never change. Right? Maybe y'all are holding me in bondage by thinking Todd will never change and he will always procrastinate. Do you ever think about any particular group of people and cling to this idea, I already know who they are? We are in bondage when that happens. Liberation begins when awareness interrupts our conditioning. Liberation begins when awareness interrupts our conditioning. And going back to, when we're stuck in our stories, right? That became conditioning. A lot of thoughts are given to us, and we hold on to them because it made the world feel safe, feel comfortable. We've got to examine these things. Because, see, it becomes so easy to forget our underlying wholeness. See, that's a teaching of the Unity Church. We are not born in sin. We are born in grace, that we are already whole. And the doubt, the separation of our understanding, that this belief that we are separate from the one that is whole, makes us believe that we are not whole. And opposition is rooted in separation. It begins when our discernment becomes judgment, and judgment becomes identity. And we begin dividing the world up into right and to wrong, to good or bad, us and them. And I mean, a lot of time we're directing that separation outward, right? And we make enemies of others. And sometimes we turn it inward and we make an enemy of ourselves. And whenever we believe in separation, opposition becomes bondage to us. If we're conditioned or we begin to lose our awareness of our shared being, it interrupts our life and we can't live into the fullness of who we are called to be. I turned this week to the Hebrew Scriptures, to the stories of the prophets, and I was reminded of Jonah. Y'all remember Jonah? And a lot of people think he was swallowed by a whale. Depending on what you read, it was a whale, it was a big fish, right? But the story of Jonah is that Jonah was given a command by God to go to Nineveh and to tell the people in Nineveh, you are sinning and you must repent. Or if you don't, you've got 40 days or the city's going to be destroyed. 40, that's a metaphysical number. That means as long as it takes till it is consciously in completion. And Jonah, he didn't want to do this. He didn't want to go to Nineveh. And do you know why? He hated them. Because he was Jewish and they were not. So he didn't want to do that. They were sinners, right? They were bad people. And so therefore, they deserved the wrath of God. Have you ever thought about that, about somebody you thought, they deserve the wrath of God. So he runs away. Have you ever run away? You had that direction, that inner calling of what you were supposed to be doing, and you run away. You're like, not me. We talked about that in the first week in my life because I ran away, right? I ran from this calling for many years because I was in opposition in myself. I can't do this because of this thing, right? I'm an abomination. So Jonah runs away, and in consciousness, we were looking at the prophets. This is a long time ago. In our awakening of consciousness, when we are still firmly rooted in that we are separate from God, we believe in an angry God that's going to punish us. And so there comes up a storm on the sea. He's on a boat, and the sailors are like, "What is going on? Who has offended God?" They cast lots. I think that means that they rolled the dice or something, and Lot goes, "It's me. I'm the reason that the storm is here, and y'all should just throw me overboard." So they did. Threw him overboard, and he was eaten by a fish, swallowed by the fish. And in there, he repents. He repents. He's in this place not because he ever doubted God, but he knows God. He's been with God, and he knows that God is merciful, and he does not want God to be merciful to these people. He wants them to, they've got it coming. They've got it coming. Right? Jonah would rather preserve opposition than participate in healing. He would rather preserve his opposition than to participate in the awakening of this city of 20,000 people. Sometimes we want our healing, but only if it does not include those people over there. Does that fit some of our thinking sometimes? This is where I've scripted in here to go into a personal story, and I'm checking in. And some of y'all have heard this before. It's this separation, this moment where we come into judgment, and this is a long time ago before I ever had met any of you, and I was sitting in a service. And the message that came out of that minister irritated me in ways that if I were to explain, I would have to use foul language. And I'm not going to subject you to that. But I was so angry. Have you ever been that angry? Yeah. And I mean, everything that was said was just not right. It was false. And I was so certain that I was right and that they were wrong, that I was good and they were bad, that I went and I bought the CD so I could listen to it again, and I could make notes of everything that was wrong so I could let them know. So I mean, it's a long time ago if it was a CD involved, right? So I play that CD and I listen to this again, and I'm ready to be right. And the talk didn't change. But somewhere in the the 24 hours that it took to listen to that again, I had changed. And what I heard when I sat there in person and listened to this is not what was said when I listened to it again. And it's just so amazing to me that I had that visceral experience and all of that anger coming up and what needed to change was not anything out there, but it was in here that needed to change. My thinking and feeling nature is what had to change. And, and that was uncomfortable, but not as uncomfortable as sitting there in anger, believing that I had been wronged. I can't even remember what I thought the message was that I heard. But I remember the experience and becoming aware of when I notice that I desperately need someone else to be wrong so that I can be comfortable, I am creating opposition. And oftentimes the people that I'm in opposition to don't even know it. I have another illustration from our scriptures. This one is from Acts of the Apostles. Simon Peter, you remember Simon Peter? Now this is after the ascension and that Jesus is no longer Jesus Christ, but he has become Christ Jesus. He has awakened to the fullness of the truth of who he is and has called his followers into ministry. And Peter is faithful, he is sincere, he is devout. He is not a malicious person. He loves the Lord. He loves this message. But he is devout in his faith. And it's not that he hates anyone. It's not that he wants to believe in otherness, but he has inherited certainty. He does not eat anything, like he doesn't eat anything with cloven hooves. He doesn't eat shrimp, any shellfish. All these things that come out of Leviticus, because this was the Jewish law, and you can't do this. And he has a dream, and in his dream, this blanket descends from heaven, and on it are all of these animals that are unclean. Unclean. And he's told to eat. I can't eat this. This is not right. This is unclean. Right? We have categories just like Peter did. He had clean and unclean, insider and outsider, holy and unholy. Eat. I can't eat this. This is unclean. Do not take what God has called whole and call it unworthy. Don't take what God has called good and say that it is anything other than good. And while he's having this dream, there is a centurion, Cornelius, who has a dream. And in his dream, he is to invite Peter to come and teach. And so he sends out some people to go find Peter and says, hey, Cornelius would like for you to come and talk to him. And Peter is like, I'm not supposed to associate with the Gentiles. And see, Peter does go. But Peter doesn't go there to introduce Cornelius to God. Peter awakens to the God that is already present in Cornelius. Because, see, separation is only something that we've made up. And while they come from different backgrounds, we have a different certainty, God is always present. We are connected to every other living thing in our soul, with our soul. Our spirit is always larger than the categories that our consciousness can create. Spirit is bigger than anything that we can try and limit. And limitation shows up, right? It shows up, and it really makes a mess of life here on Playground Planet Earth. In Jesus and the Disinherited, Howard Thurman says that hatred tends to dry up the springs of creative thought. Hatred tends to dry up the springs of creative thought. Opposition narrows our imagination. And when our thinking nature is consumed by proving ourselves right or proving someone else wrong, of defending our position, of condemning others, of a belief that we have to defeat some other ideology, right? We are losing access to our creativity. We lose access to our compassion. We lose connection to our wisdom. And we abandon our spiritual freedom. And I think we all want to be free in the Spirit. I think we want to release the shackles of opposition in us. Next week here in the United States, we're celebrating 250 years of this country, Independence Day. Political freedom matters. Spiritual freedom asks something deeper of us. What would it mean to become free from the need to define ourselves through opposition? What would it mean to give up these ideas of us and them? And I want to invite you into this week's practice, if you're willing to do it, that when you notice those people, language coming up in your thoughts, I want you to go back to the basics of unity. And I want you to pray. Pause and pray, right? A prayer practice of noticing the opposition. Name the story. And release the enemy consciousness. And love them. Because our way shower, he said something about loving our enemies, right? And here's a simple prayer you can use if you want to, or you can write your own. But divine love, free me from the need to make an enemy. Divine love, free me from the need to make an enemy. Say that with me. Divine love, free me from the need to make an enemy. Restore me to clarity without contempt. Restore me to clarity without contempt. Our spiritual freedom, our spiritual liberation invites us to do this dance with life here on Playground Planet Earth. And when our consciousness is organized around opposition, we stop asking, what am I here to create? Because we are consumed with what must I resist? What must I resist? The Christ does not call us merely out of conflict. The Christ calls us back into creative participation with life. And may we become people committed not merely to being right, but to being free and loving wastefully. And that's what I was invited to share this week as I sat on my rock and listened. So, thank you for your time and your attention. I love you all.
Thank you, Rev Todd. I really like that statement, loving wastefully. That's beautiful. Let us behold the Christ in each and every one of us. I behold the Christ in you. Here's the life of God I see. I can see a great peace too. I can see you whole and free. I behold the Christ in you. I can see this as you walk. I see this in all you do, and I can see this as you talk. I behold God's love expressed. I can see you filled with power. I can see you ever blessed. See Christ in you, hour by hour. I behold the Christ in you. I can see that perfect one, led by God in all you do. I can see God's work is done. I behold God's love expressed. I can see you filled with power, and I can see you ever blessed. I see Christ in you, hour by hour. I behold the Christ in you, and I can see that perfect one, led by God in all you do. I can see God's work is done. I can see God's work is done.
Thank you, Deidrey.